Go ahead and call the meeting to order and do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Rita Eckerman. Here. Chris Mackey.
Here.
Al Wolf.
Here.
Kevin Battle.
Here. Catherine's still working. Catherine was couldn't get off work yet.
Okay. Quorum is present.
All right, has everybody read the minutes? Everybody good with the minutes? Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so be it. All right, and I really don't have a whole lot to say tonight, to be honest with you. And do we have anything in the citizen participation? How about our staff presentations?
So for the month of January, we ran 17 fires, 84 EMS, 8 vehicle crashes, 0 water surf rescues, 8 lift assists, and 5 other assists for a total of 122 calls for January. And so far in February, we have 4 fires, 47 medical calls, 5 vehicle crashes, 2 surf rescues, water rescues, 10 lift assists, and no other assists for a total of 68 so far this month. So, training. So for the total annual hours for the year, 262 hours so far, from January 20th till now, 190.5 hours. So, we finished up our fire officer ones and some other things too. So there's and now we're in rope rescue, which means next month's numbers will be bumped up higher even too. So, go ahead, Eric.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull my mask down because I talk quiet with it on. So
It's appreciated. Thank you.
Station 74, Five Rivers, nothing really to report change there. The energy propane people have monitoring it better now, so the propane level's staying where it needs to be, so it doesn't run out of propane and continues to heat and keep the trucks charged and maintained. Tidewater, we have got all the new soffit in, so next week, or at least in the nice days, I'll be starting to finish the trim work on the outside because we got that in and it's all painted, ready to go. Security system, started to install it yesterday to get it up in there because we've got apparently some people that like to sleep behind the station, so I got to get the cameras up. That's a big necessary.
Up at Tidewater?
Yeah, at Tidewater.
That's great.
And something I forgot to mention last month, the security system was bought with SDAO 50 grand. So the system itself was $1,300, but we only had to pay like 600 and something for it. So that's what we got back from SDAO. So that's a big plus. Doesn't cost us as much. Down here, the main station, everything's kind of been plugging away, other than little stuff here and there that needs to be done. I've spent the majority of the month getting all of the apparatus down here into our fleet software so that we can start doing mileage reports and know when dot inspections are due. It'll just send reminders, and then as vehicle checks are being done, it creates maintenance reports so that if somebody who's checking it says, okay, well this light's out, it'll generate a maintenance report that'll send to me so that I know, hey, I need to go get this light fixed, and it creates a work order so we can track it. That's been the biggest part of something I've been trying to do. And I'll get Brett the numbers. All the apparatus now have fleet IDs instead of radio IDs. So since radio IDs can go from one rig to another, if that makes sense. So like engine 72, what used to be engine 72 is now engine 75. Now they have an actual fleet number, so that number, once we obtain that, say we get a new apparatus like the rescue, that truck gets assigned a number, and that's it. That stays with that rig for the life of it. So all the fuel will be tracked under it, service orders, so on and so forth, all will be tracked under that number. So that for the history of the truck, we're not trying to go through files. Well, that might have been this one, or it could be. I played hell, excuse my language, for the last month going through
I'm totally offended.
yeah, all the old service records, trying to put things in the right, with the right trucks and so on and so forth.
Now,
So
is this software through the Firehouse software, or?
it's called Check It.
It's part of the Target Solutions company, the Vector
okay,
Solutions
okay.
company.
So yeah, it's all tied together so that the individual person can use it, run an app right on their phone, go through each compartment and each compartment layout. Each vehicle, a fire engine takes me about, just to inventory it takes me a day, and then just to put it in the system takes another day. Then to build all the checklists takes about another day. It's very intense, but it's got everything from wheel sizes to motor sizes to tranny sizes, everything's in it. So in the software when I'm done with it, so it's all right there, easily pull up. So hopefully, eventually, I'd like to put in what each rig costs, so that in each equipment item costs, because then I can run reports and say, this is where we're at. So that's my hope anyway, down the road. So other than that, I'm done. Go ahead.
I got it in mind.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I got it in mind.
okay. So you'll see in front of you, the completed policy manual. If you'll, somewhere on that, just print your name, but then sign it and just leave it, and I'll pick those up, just that you received it. There should be a signature page. And just leave those behind, and then you can take the actual manual with you. Our website.
Excuse me, Wendy, I'm not trying to be rude, but could you do the same as?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. 'cause
Absolutely.
I
Oh,
can't- I
yeah,
can't-
these maps are a little thicker, so it's harder to do. So our website had 15,801 page views in December. And now that some other projects are kind of done and I've got a little bit more time, I'm gonna start working on adding some more photos to the website of like training and some of the different community events that we've done, things like that, to help kind of entice more volunteers to say, look, it's not just about training. We have some fun too, and things like that. And that was actually pretty much all I had today.
I'd like to add one thing to that. When you posted that information on administration and your cost and what you've done, obviously you put some effort into it. It'd really be nice to see, or to show the public, dollar amounts, or at least some kind of a figure of, we made this change, we went with this vendor, and it saved us this or that. And
Right.
instead of just being verbiage, but actually show them what you're doing.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Again, I'm not trying to be insulting, but the thing is when you can bring that forward to the public and say, we changed, for example, cell phone providers. You saved, 9% by switching to AT&T or Verizon, or whoever the hell it is. The point being is it'd really be nice if you could show
Kind of
some form of,
break it down a little bit more.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
not in the extent of 16 pages of
Right.
verbiage, but a small blurb of, a little thing that we did was, as an admin, I checked into this, and that we did this, saved that.
You're right, I understand.
Okay. That's it. It's not a criticism, all it
No,
is
no, I
saying.
agree. Yeah, break it down a little more.
If you want to market it, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Rick's not here, so volunteer report. We got a new volunteer in. His name's Grady. He works with Central, is it Coast County?
Coast Tone.
Coach Don.
Really active guy. He's been coming to everything. So it's been great. He even came to the donkey basketball the other night and rode a donkey with us and played basketball. And so,
We do have another volunteer that's gonna come in at the end of the month, that I've been talking to via email. He's currently living out of state, but he wants to come and volunteer for us, so.
yeah, and we've handed out, 3 applications over the last couple of weeks?
It sure be nice to get some.
So there's some people showing interest.
Now, are we gonna get a report on the donkey basketball too?
If you haven't seen the video, there's videos on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Greg Dunn had done some live stuff, so I shared it onto our Facebook page. and then some other pictures and stuff. But the guys, they had fun. The guys did a great job, even though, yes, they
No,
lost.
no firefighters nor donkeys were harmed in the making.
Somehow they missed me dunking it on the video.
It was fun. It was a good charity.
That showed me off the donkey a couple
We were
times.
glad we were able up there. Pac West came up with us. They were there with us. Seal Rock came up with us. Yachats came up with us. So we had the whole South Region Emergency Services
Mom was there.
up there. Yep. There was a bunch of people there. It was a good event.
They did that years ago. They
Yeah.
used to do that kind of, and then hadn't heard it for years.
Yeah. It seemed like a good event. So that's pretty much it for
I
volunteer.
believe the final
Rick
score
didn't
was
leave me
0 to
with it, so.
6.
All right. Well, we got for evening report tonight.
Members of the union have been pretty busy with our training, as Chief Mason mentioned before, working on rope rescue for rope technician classes. Some of us are doing some other online classes, including Fire Officer 1, and just trying to make sure that we're getting all our training hours in and keeping busy on that. Not much else on the union front to report. We would also like to request the board consider the hiring of 2 firefighters. That's it.
Okay. All right. Ready for your finance report?
Sure.
Cash on hand, reserves or restricted, unrestricted accounts, $993,833.47 at the end of January. Of that, unrestricted cash is $750,830.67. We're not out of money.
Good.
Yeah.
It's always possible.
Current levy funds, accrued $833,390.73, and we budgeted $831,145.05, so we're already over by $2,250. And we'll get a pretty good deposit here for this month, the tax is being due. And then we'll get another bit in May. So
What's the percentage of the people that pay their taxes? I mean, I know that's probably a county question, but, I mean, how much trickles in after the last, you know what I mean? 'Cause, you know, you pay them November 15th. How much is that percentage of that trickles in throughout?
we do,
Because I think you could do three quarters, isn't it, or a
no, it's
third?
94%.
Okay. Then we're in
Is what
good
we budget for, and that's, I believe that's the county standard is 94%,
Okay.
what they use too. But prior levy funds, we accrued $21,552.73. So those are your delinquent
Right.
funds, and we only budgeted $15,890. So this year we've actually got
Right.
quite a bit more than we usually get. We always exceed it, but, well, almost every year we exceed it. But this year has been really good for collection services. Sale of surplus property, this doesn't count what we've had for February, $15,597.77. So we're well above the 5,000 we budgeted for that. Personnel services, $324,676.38. So we are at 52.74% of budget. We should end the year. Pretty good. Legal services, $5,438, and we budgeted $8,000. So we're about right on the mark there. Building maintenance, $15,083.41 through January 31st, and we only budgeted $2,600. That was quite expensive there. And then the last one I want to offer up, training mileage, you got some room in there. You got 4,339.61, and we budgeted 12,260. So you're going to be good through the end.
COVID's made sure we can't go train anywhere.
What's that?
COVID. COVID's made it so we can't do a lot of out-of-house training,
Oh,
so.
Well, good job to everybody staying right on budget. I mean, it takes pretty much everybody in the department, so good job to everybody on doing that. You know, not wrecking trucks or doing that kind of stuff. So it goes from the top to the bottom on staying in budget. So good job being right there so far. We're at 50% or close to 50%. So halfway through the year. So that's really good. That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of things are stabilizing too. You know, we've been working on trying to get everything back into shape. We're pretty much there on a lot of things, so you're gonna see the curve start to flatten out and drop down even here pretty soon. I don't see a lot of upgrades and stuff left to go to try to get things where they should be. So, yeah, it's working pretty good.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the financial report as presented.
second?
All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
All right, so be it.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Aye. You guys in competition tonight?
I'll give you one each.
Oh, there you go.
Doesn't matter. Either or.
All right, guess we'll move on down to, any correspondence?
Not at this time.
We got an old business.
Do you got anything, Buster? Or? Oh, we didn't get any requests to put anything in old business, so we
No,
just
I
left it there.
No, got nothing. What about new business? Civil service.
So when I sent off the paperwork for the 2 temp hires to Ross with the local government law group, and he started looking at the temporary positions, he also reminded me that with the zone 2, it's 4 personnel for civil service. So I put this on here tonight so we could start the conversation.
Right.
Because we have 4 full-time firefighters already, we need to go into civil service. So that means we have to generate a committee, and it has to be outside of the board. It's typically 3 people. They meet 1 time a year to go over the civil service book for the district that the district
okay,
adopts.
okay.
And then they only meet again if there's a civil service issue.
Oh, okay.
So.
Did we appoint the committee?
I believe so. That's how we did it at my last place, was the board appointed people who were interested. We're just trying to follow and make sure that that's what it's supposed to be. There was something that he brought up, or the ORS that he provided us brought up about the county commissioners, but I don't know. We're gonna figure that out. I just wanted to put this on here to kind of get the ball, you know, aware that the ball exists and we need to start rolling that ball a little bit, because we already have 4 full-time firefighters, so we should already be going into this. The temp hires didn't change,
Won't change that.
so, which means that all of our hiring practices have to follow civil service. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I guess you had your report now then.
Yeah, so I spoke with Kathy from McKinsey just a little bit ago, actually, and we've been talking back and forth about re-reviewing this structure, but utilizing the full structure and whether or not it can be done with seismic funds. So she's gonna get back to me with a new assessment of, if we wanna look at it, this is what we would have to do to have the full thing reviewed and determine if they could get us a plan utilizing the current footprint of this building to the full extent, and then only having any new construction be in additions to the current footprint. So I don't know what that's gonna provide, but I wanted to see if it was an avenue we could look at. Of course, their original was, they don't like the sheer walls, the doors are too narrow, just tear it down. Now we're saying, all right, well, we keep the doors that are in place and accept the fact that they are that size, but if we add on 2 bays, we make those bays bigger. So the bigger trucks are down on that end and the smaller trucks are in the middle. You know, things like that to look at to try to make it work so that it takes that dollar amount from the 12 down to maybe closer to 6. So that's,
We're starting to get down there now, maybe.
yeah, we're
That's
not,
half.
we're not getting a lot of warm fuzzy feelings coming from grants, you know, with
You're not?
working with Ryan. No.
Oh, really?
Not really, not yet.
Okay.
There are some things they're looking into, and they're still working on it, but so far, you know, nobody's standing at the door waiting to hand us a suitcase full of money,
So
so,
ideally, I think we would all like to get out of the tsunamis.
yeah,
We all realize there's many issues to do that, and that would not even happen.
yeah,
Even if everything fell in place, we'd be 2 years out.
yeah,
So we still have to have a home,
yeah.
regardless of what we do.
Right, and like I said, you know, if you don't improve the building and we just improve the current condition of the building, because we own it, and then
Right.
sell it later, you're hopefully capturing your money back,
Right.
because it should gain value the way
Well,
things
we
are
know we're
going.
gonna be here
So,
for a while, we got no other option from that.
so she's gonna bring me back information to bring to you.
Okay.
So, ISO, I hope everybody saw the release we did for the ISO. Once February 1st hit and it went into place, we wanted to make sure it was announced and out there so everybody, I know people are calling their insurances because we've had several phone calls from insurance companies calling and verifying the ISO. So I know that people are getting it done. So hopefully people are seeing some discounts. As far as the school programs, I got feedback from the school's leadership above the principal, so at the district level, that they're a little concerned with the 15-minute program. They would like to see more, like when they bring in the car that's already wrecked and they talk about it, but they don't actually do a scenario. We're still talking with them. I think that with the number of DUI involved incidents that we're seeing on a regular basis right now, I think it's really important to get some awareness out there and start to do some prevention, you know, even at the school age level, so it just carries forward as it goes forward. So we're still working on it. The old Dodge that the Tahoe replaced was sold on GovDeals for just over $13,000.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I got into a little bit of a bid war there at the end of it.
Cool.
So
Cool.
it sold for a little over $13,000, and
How
the
many miles is
rescue,
on that thing?
104 for 4,000. Yeah, but it was a 3/4 ton, you know, Dodge, and apparently buying trucks right now is pretty difficult to ground
It
certain
Yeah,
used
used
trucks
car,
right now.
used car and pickup market's up 40% right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wound up in Washington and is becoming a landscaping pickup.
Good place for it.
The rescue got the full certification for its fill station, and so we've listed the fill station that's in the Connex box on GovDeals, starting at $4,500 for the starting bid. We'll see where that goes as it gets closer to close. Temporary hire firefighters, I received feedback from legal, and they had me change 3 things on the paperwork. One was they wanted the title of the job description to say temporary firefighter engineer. And then in the job description narrative, they had me add that these are temporary, limited duration positions that are not part of the bargaining unit. So with those changes, you said everything is fine. Everything was good. It meets all the checkpoints. So that did get the approval from legal if we decide to go forward. Grant funding, so Ryan's still looking at National Rescue and the tax market credits. Brick is also Ryan, and we had a meeting with them the other day where they were just getting more information from us to be able to talk to the FEMA people. Mackenzie's still on the seismic grant that was part of our contract from before, so they're just holding until the next one comes up. So we got the $2,500 check for fire hose, and then I'm resubmitting the fire hose grant for March 1st cutoff to get more money for fire hose. That was actually their recommendation, was they couldn't give us as much because their funding was down because of closures at the
Yeah,
casino.
they're hurting in
So,
donations.
so they said, just keep on resubmitting it, we'll try to give you little chunks if we can. So that's what I'm gonna do. The SAFER grant's been submitted, and the deadline has passed, but they haven't given an update on when the announcements are gonna be yet. There was issues with the System Awards Management Program. Ours was fine. I was able to get in and update ours, and ours is good now through February of 2023. So I had no issue on our end, but other people are having issues with it apparently. They were kicking back deadlines. They've stopped kicking them back, so now we should start seeing at least scheduling for them to review the grants coming up next. So hopefully we'll still know roughly March, April if we got it, because we'll have to budget for it if we got it. So hopefully they'll be able to tell us in time. And that's the same thing with the AFG grant for the replacement tender. for the 1981 tender. SDOs, we got the 50% that Eric mentioned for the security system came in, and our ODF grant also came, the money for that also came in for our ODF equipment, which we'd already paid it. It was one of those, buy the equipment, send us the receipts, and then we reimburse you for your portion of the grant. So the prevention and preparedness grants ready to go out. I'm wrapping up some final touches on it because I got the quote numbers today for that digital sign out front. Get rid of that trailer bound sign. That last windstorm flipped it over again. So it just becomes a huge wind catch in the weather. So bidding quotes. So the roof is still not 100%, but we're looking somewhere around 130,000 for replacing the roof with prevailing wage. And then overhead doors gave us the 68,000 for replacing bay doors. I'm still working with Morris for the sinkhole, and then the siding, trying to get somebody to actually come and do it has been a
Really?
little bit of pain,
I
yeah.
know it's hard to get contractors.
I can't
Busy right
get
now.
anybody
Yeah.
for drywall right now. I can't, yeah. So I called somebody the other day and said, we need this, and just tell us how much, and they never showed up, so. Yeah,
I
I
know
think
it's
people are
hard.
just busy. I think everybody's just really busy. As far as action items, so the CERT trailer out back, if you saw it, it's already got the wrap on it. And then CERT took it, we ordered the materials that they requested from the lumberyard, and they've built their shelves into it. So the only thing left on that is we have to take all the hardware and all the components off the rear of the trailer to put the black wrap on the rear door and then put it back on again. So because he didn't do the back door, he didn't want to take everything apart. He didn't have a lot of tools for that. So because he didn't do the back door, he cut the cost down on that and took basically the labor out of it. So it was supposed to cost us about $1,500, and he charges us $1,043 for that. So yeah. Five Rivers Water Supply will be budgeting for the water tank for out there.
Yeah, I think that's important.
I think we're gonna need to, and I think we talked about this, a concrete pad to put that on out there.
Right, so I think that's important to get into the water supply.
Yeah, you have to have
Yeah.
concrete
Things are getting
pads.
drier every year.
Yep.
Too much
Yeah.
weight.
That vehicle swaps is all done, insured, registered with the state, license plates, et cetera, so the vehicle swap's done. Jet dock installation, we're just waiting on the port. I don't know if you've got more information on that or not, Buster, but,
No, actually, there's some more grants just popped up too.
okay, good. Engine continuity list, we've created our list of what we need, so now it just needs to be budgeted through our equipment levy next year. Already completed all the grants that were listed as goals, and then rope rescue operations has already started. One shift is all done except for 2 checkoffs, and the next 2 shifts start their classes starting next week. So it'll be done by March 10th completely.
And the new truck's all satisfactory, you know, the rescue truck?
The rescue truck is all ready to go, including the shelves. We do have some reels that are coming for the hydraulic hose, but they're not here yet. I put the command vehicle on hold since the soffits and stuff came in, so Eric can get back out to Tidewater for a while. And then we'll put the command cabinet in. I want it, don't get me wrong, I want it, but I also want Tidewater back up. and
Yeah,
running.
no,
So
yeah,
now that the materials are coming in and we can get up to it, so,
And the weather's starting to get decent.
yeah.
yeah, we're not out of winter quite yet.
No, not yet.
But it's coming.
That's
All
it
right,
for me.
thank you, chief. All right, we got any questions from the audience?
Just a second here.
Nothing?
I don't,
Alrighty.
yeah.
What's the next move on the firefighters?
that's what I was.
I mean, we still have 2 shifts where people are responding by themselves, and we're talking about budgeting money for a water tank up at Five Rivers, but we are still responding alone to sketchy areas, and it's not a safe workplace.
No, I agree, we have some issues, and right now, we're working with Seal Rock to work hand in hand with them to help us with that. And that's coming, but how did that meeting go? Went good. Is there anything to put on that, or are we gonna be? What's that?
Will I have a partner next shift?
Oh, come on, man. You know, we got a lot of stuff to work on, I get it.
You're right.
I'm trying.
Safety is low priority, I understand that.
No, it's not at all.
I feel
Not
like it
at
is,
all.
I feel like it is, because you guys care more about a water tank up at Tidewater. That's the only thing that got a comment out of you on this whole report.
All right. Did anything come out of the meeting that shows any level of
Yes, we
changes or
want-
progress?
Come out with this, so every call there'll be 2 people on it.
On the same
apparatus.
truck or coming
Showing
from
up at
different
the same time.
locations?
Two people, I wasn't, we talked about it, I don't want to say a whole lot about it, because we're just starting on it, you know?
Yeah.
But we all agree there needs to be 2 people per call. We all agree on that.
Right. We have
Nobody
that
should
right
go out
now.
by themselves. We all agree 100% on that.
Right, we have that right now.
Right, and that's what we want. You know, and that's what Seal Rock wants too.
But the difference is there's a gap in response time, right? And so where the safety issues for us is, okay, we head upriver, and then, they're potentially 10 minutes behind us if they're at the Seal Rock Station. So in that gap of time, right, you're arriving to someone's house, or let's say the wrong address, right? Let's say something happens, you go to the wrong house, and there's someone at the door, and, you just don't know what can happen on these emergency scenes, and you guys are asking us to do that alone. I understand that you guys are talking and wanting us to have 2 people, but there's still gonna be that gap in time. If we're not riding on the same engine, that's like a law enforcement officer. They would wait somewhere until backup gets there to then go into a house. So is that what you would like us to do, is wait here for them to come to us and then we go?
I'm not directing you none of that.
Well,
Yeah.
do you see what I mean?
I get 100% with you. I wish we could hire more firemen right now. I really do.
We can. The ball is in your guys' court, that's all we're asking.
Well, so, I don't know how it went with Seal Rock, but I'm kind of on the same standpoint as I was before.
So, here's the
Which
question.
is, let me just finish. Which is, are they wanting to respond together or not? That's kind of my biggest thing.
Yes.
So they're wanting to respond out of the same station.
I don't know, like I said, we just started talking about it. I don't want to say much, because, we just started talking about it. And,
Do you know when we'd have a timeline as far as when we would know?
well, we're meeting again next week.
Okay.
So you guys released a public release, which wasn't authorized by the board, that made its way to me, that says in that release, and I don't have it in front of me, but I can go get it off my desk, that basically you agree that there's problems with the IGA, that's fine, it's understandable, I can accept that, and that your direction, if you will, is to revamp the IGA to supplement the in-place mutual aid county agreement, countywide mutual aid agreement. So why would we create an IGA to do something that's already there? I guess it doesn't sound to me like we're gonna put our people together. They want their people on their station so that it shows that there are people in Seal Rock. That was their main complaint, was we want people to be in our station showing a presence for Seal
Right.
Rock.
Right.
And we have our people on our station. So if they get sent up to Main Seal Rock proper to go cut the grass because it's Thursday and that's the chore they were supposed to do today, and then our crew leaves from here, just like the situation that Cody was saying, and goes upriver, and they're coming from there and we're already upriver so far, and something happens to them. Granted that over the last few weeks, myself and Eric have made ourselves more down here and responding on calls with them, especially the bigger calls, so that we can, have somebody chasing them closer. But they're right, there is a lag time.
I agree.
And that lag time is just enough time for somebody to step into a bad situation and not have anybody there to help them. Not anybody looking over their shoulder or watching out for them. And it sounds to me, and I'm just interpreting from that very short release, that's not putting our crews together in the same firehouse on the same fire truck is not the direction that this is gonna go. That it's gonna be more of a mutual aid, maybe enhanced mutual aid, where we respond on more calls than the normal mutual aid system would ask us for, but still from a separated posture, if you will, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying.
And so when we all, literally 2 years ago, when I first got here, and there was this weird part-time slash full-time slash rotation of people by themselves on an engine, you know, and it kept creating these situations that were unsafe. We said, we're not doing that no more. We're gonna have 2 people, and that's really what sprouted the IGA to come together at first. And so now we've literally gone back to that 2 years ago point, and granted our schedules are more consistent, but we're back to responding with just one person again. And it doesn't sound like that's gonna change unless there's information I'm just not privy to. And I haven't been told anything since that meeting from anybody, other than getting handed that public release without, you know, any kind of information behind it.
So I think that public release though should probably go through the whole board, I think.
Yeah,
I think
it
it
has
has
to
to
go
approve,
through
if
the
it's
board.
gonna come from Central Coast, the board has to like approve
But we made them the committee, or what about?
But even
Well,
if
the
we
committee's
release
supposed
something,
to
the committee's
meet
supposed
and
to
report
meet and
back
then
to
they
the
come
board.
back to the board and report to the board of what happened.
Yeah.
So we're privy of what's going on in those meetings, so it's not like we're just out to dry when we're trying to make decisions.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, right?
No,
I mean,
that-
like, I'm just trying to make a decision about whether we're gonna hire a firefighter.
I know.
And I don't know because
I don't know either.
I want to be able to say, okay, we're responding together, so let's not spend probably now the $60,000, right? But I can't make that decision because I don't know if Steel Rock is going to be like, go pound sand, or if they're going to say, hey, we're going to, or whether in that meeting they're like, yeah, we definitely want to respond out of the same station, whether that station be,
I don't know that
They
they
sure
want to do
whatever.
out of the same station. I don't know if they want to do, I don't know for sure yet, you know.
gotcha.
I really don't know. We've had one meeting, you know.
So, if I may, I understand budget constraints, and I understand really wanting not to spend that money. But here's the situation, okay? We're all friends, we all talk, all the firefighters. What happens when 3 of their firefighters are gone and they don't get replaced?
Yeah.
Then we wasted yet another amount of time. Okay, because I've heard it, Steel Rock doesn't plan on replacing anybody who leaves. Okay, so if their firefighters have out and get a job somewhere else, they won't be replaced. Why are we gonna put our safety in the uncertainty basket that is that?
The firefighters are leaving from Seal Rock?
They're
Applying elsewhere.
Well, we got firefighters here applying elsewhere.
Yeah,
Kind of
okay.
standard.
It happens.
But we're planning on
But here's
replacing
the
ours,
deal.
they're not
What
planning.
happens when they're gone, and I have nobody there, even though we entered this wonderful agreement that is so great for both districts, don't get me wrong, that's a wonderful thing, but it's uncertain. It is completely uncertain. Yes, these are temporary positions and they are only designed to last 8 months, so those are a certain degree of uncertainty as well. But it's a little bit more promise that I'm gonna have somebody there to back me up.
I just think like the frustration, you know, Chief does his due diligence and gets the information to you guys. He knows the operational plan and the operation that needs to happen. We all see it, right? I feel like there's a disconnect in what you guys see that you guys are asking us to do, right? You don't realize that you're asking us to do it because you don't see what we do day in, day out like they do. You don't hear the calls that we go on. I think if you did, and that disconnect wasn't there, you would appreciate more the situations that we get put into. And asking us to do that alone wouldn't be, it wouldn't be as, let's talk about this next month, right? Like, you guys wouldn't have that same attitude if you were going home to your significant other and, you know, listening to, having their fears when you're responding alone by yourself. Like, I mean, it's just not a good situation. And I feel, you know, there was a lot of weight put, you know, Shai saying, you know, you guys go tell my significant other if I die on the call. I mean, there's some serious truth to that. In that the lack of time, the time that we're wasting making this decision, if something does happen to us, ultimately it is resting on all of the board. Because everyone here is on the same page on what needs to happen.
So, I guess kind of where I'm at on it is, I don't see it going anywhere with Steel Rock. I was kind of hoping that meeting would be somewhere where they were gonna say, yeah, we definitely wanna respond together. Like, that would have been the one thing that came from that meeting, right? But, I mean, it doesn't sound like it did. It sounds like they still have other priorities. So in my opinion, you know, like I said at the last meeting, I think it's super important that they're not responding alone. So,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, me personally, like, if Seal Rock isn't willing to do that, and like you said, anyways, what if their guys leave and they're not gonna replace them? We're gonna be in the same boat in a month anyways, right? Like, and who knows before how long we can get to the same table and agreeing to respond together anyways. I mean, it's been pretty slow moving. So even if we get 2 months down the road, you know, we're still responding for 2 months. And then by that time, maybe one of their firefighters is gone. So we're doing it anyway. So my thought is, you know, it sucks to pay the $60,000, but
My question
we
is,
have it in the budget.
my question is it affirmative that they're not gonna replace their firefighters? Is it
So-
in documentation?
No, this is something that, I mean, like I said, we all talk, this is something that is.
Well, I understand you all talk, and I'm not trying to discredit you at all. But the thing is, you have to have a little more firm conviction on that somebody from their board chair, their chief, or whatever says, we're not gonna state publicly that they're
Sure.
not going to replace the
Sure.
paid fireman. Then, that changes the whole story. I totally agree with that. But until we hear that, the thing is that's what I want to hear. If that's the case, then it changes my whole plan and my whole thought process.
So I think there needs to be clarification on the word together. Because when you talk to me or the staff, the word together means they're sitting in the same vehicle everywhere they go.
That's the way I.
They
Well,
are,
I totally agree.
But I get that.
Yeah.
I get that, but we
Right.
have the other issue of the statement being made that Sil Rock is not going to replace their firemen if they go.
No, they're gonna keep their 4 firemen. They've got money for 4, they're gonna keep 4.
But that's what I'm saying,
Here,
we need to know
need
that, because that changes the whole dynamic of Central Coast.
so I think,
There's an email that I have, and I think anybody around here has, from Will Ewing, their interim chief, to Jamie Mason in January that says they will not replace anyone who leaves.
Well, they're talking about trying to do it with volunteers.
Right.
And I know where that's gonna go this day and age.
So, but you just said that they plan, so did you hear last week?
As far as I know, they've got funding available to have 4 firemen on staff.
You're not wrong, and again, like I said.
And I don't know if they're leaving or coming or going, I don't know.
It may be a bit far-fetched for me to say, hey, I don't think they're gonna replace their firefighters, but that's what's been communicated to not less than 2 of their firefighters.
I know they talk about doing it all with volunteers, but I think in reality, this day and age, that's not.
I understand, and Todd, I understand there has to be something more.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I don't
also
think
there has
I'm,
to be something more on your end too. Are they gonna let us respond in the same apparatus? Where's your firm conviction?
I wasn't at the
that?
meeting.
So I'm just saying.
Okay, I was not
On
at
the
the
same-
meeting, there was a subcommittee that was
but,
developed.
okay, so even if they keep their firefighters forever,
It's still the same thing, you respond in with one
you're
guy until
still
the other guy
responding
shows up.
with- So I think we need to focus on the question of, is the stance going to be that because there's somebody coming eventually from the other side of the bridge, we're okay with our firefighters responding by themselves?
No.
No.
Or is it, we're not gonna worry about whether they're coming from across the bridge or not. We want our firefighters together with another partner, so to speak.
I agree, that
Regardless.
is best case scenario, there's no doubt about it.
So I think that's what it is. I also want to point out that the temporary hire plan is dependent, for that to become a permanent plan, that's dependent on us getting the SAFER grant too.
Right.
Because I don't want to leave open holes here where it's like, okay, well, they're 8 months and then what? Well, our anticipation is that we're going to get the SAFER grant and those positions are going to become permanent positions from that point forward.
Eventually,
This
hopefully.
just closes the gap
That's
from
still
here to
been my
there.
biggest concern about hiring really is like, we're gonna be trying to hire somebody and I feel like we're not going to get as good a candidate. If we're like, well, we don't know if we have this grant.
I can tell you-
Even if we get 2 months down the road and we're like, we're going to get this grant, I don't mind shelling out the money because I know at least they'll know that we're gonna have it for 3 years. years,
I
right?
can tell you right now, I can fill those holes tomorrow. I've already got people lined up ready to go. I don't do these things without knowing where it's gonna end up. Like, I've got the people who are ready to step into those positions, maybe 2 weeks if they give 2 weeks notice of where they're at. So, I don't even know if they'll do that for sure, so. But the fact of the matter is that there needs to be a determination based off of the clarification that we all define the word together as two people on the same truck.
It should be.
And that the stance that we're gonna leave here tonight with is either we accept the fact that somebody's coming from across the bridge in another vehicle with whatever delay it may be, because it's not always 10 minutes, I mean, but it can
There's
be.
wrecks and everything happens.
They could be, yeah, I mean, so when they're together, they're always together. There's no, the way I wrote the guideline, there's no exception. They're together when they were together. So no matter where they went, there was always somebody with them. We don't have that right now on all our shifts, just one of our shifts has that, and we need to decide how much longer we're going to accept that, regardless of what Seal Rock's gonna do.
No, we
So-
gotta worry about Central Coast.
Yes.
Central Coast is our focus.
Yes.
That is
And
our focus.
We had a good thing going for a little while. You know, clearly they want to go a different direction, and that's their choice. I'm not going to fault them. I'm not going to
No,
say
no,
anything.
we don't need the
I've already
animosity. We
shared
still are
two-
gonna be working together.
I've already shared too many of my opinions, and you know, I should just keep my opinions to myself clearly, but I've shared my opinions on it. I think we need to just focus on Central Coast. And then if they do stuff with us, great, awesome. We're happy to have them with us. But if they don't, Central Coast is good regardless. So,
So we do have the funding to cover the positions?
We have enough reserves to be able to make that happen.
Jamie and I went through, he asked me to go through and see,
Mm-hmm,
and we did.
mm-hmm,
And the money is there this year. And that we have more budgeted in the personnel side than we're going to use. And if we don't get the AFG grant, the match portion of that, I believe, is $70,000. Of course, that means you can't spend it the next year. I mean, if you spend it this year, you don't have it next year.
yeah.
Or you have to start cutting
If we
back.
get that,
You gotta be careful.
our match portion is gonna be 70,000 anyways.
And
Yeah,
I
but
think that's what we budgeted.
We won't pay that out of this year. Because
I
the
realize that, but it's still, the money's gone.
Yeah, yeah. It's,
A lot of times with grants, you can't
Cross-
do what he's saying. A lot of times with grants, I know, especially for nonprofits, I don't know if this is gonna apply the same, but a lot of times you can get away with doing it. You'd be like, we've already spent the money on this project, because it's still technically the same project, right?
yeah.
So a lot of times you can get away with that.
And our match on the AFG is 20 grand.
Okay.
It's not 70.
We budgeted much more than that.
Yeah, I budgeted to be careful.
Quite a bit more than that.
Yeah. I
So
budgeted.
the money's there this year,
mm-hmm.
but it won't be there, you know, you're gonna have to make some decisions about next year.
Well, I mean, hopefully we're going to hear something on the SAFER grant in the next,
Well, and that's why I said I don't want any misunderstanding that these temporary positions don't have funding past what this plan is if the
Right.
SAFER grant doesn't
Yeah.
come through.
right.
Yeah, then we
Yeah.
can
So-
take a look at it another way, but, yeah, you know, you gotta fund safety.
Yeah, well,
And
and the
Even if you
thing
gotta
is that
cut
it's a
back
temporary,
somewhere else.
it's a temporary position. People who are coming into it know that it's, you know, at least a temporary position. Could potentially be a permanent position, but at least it's a temporary position. And to my mind, if you're hiring someone who understands that at the outset,
Yeah.
why not?
Our original,
You got 4 months left in this year,
Mhm.
yeah.
so what you gonna do, what's the temporary, nine months you guarantee?
Well, now it's 7 months because I started it at the beginning of
7,
February.
okay, so you're gonna carry it over into next year.
Well, and hopefully
Um,
within that 7 months, we'll either have confirmation of additional funding or some idea of what Seal Rock is doing, or, you know, whatever, but,
Well,
Is there any way to do 2 people on each shift with you guys taking shifts, as much as I would hate that to happen, because then that takes away on the other side of, you know, the.
Yep. I floated that. It was pretty quickly shot down by the staff.
Okay,
They don't want me to be not available on a regular basis, on a daily basis.
yeah, during the day.
Yeah.
You know, I still respond on calls all night long when it's car accidents, but a lot of the medicals, I kind of look and see if, you know, if I think they're gonna need more than what they have. Eric does the same thing. He responds at night as a volunteer, when he's not, you know, operating as a maintenance officer. He rolls as a volunteer. So he'll go on calls, car accidents, fires, you know.
And I also want to make sure everyone understands that I don't mind doing shifts. That's not a problem for me. The problem I have is that I'm working really hard to get all of our apparatus and equipment up to snuff. And you put me on a shift, there's say 8 to 10 hours of sleep time, you know, depending on the call. If we get a lot of heavy calls in the middle of the night, it's going to be lots of downtime, and I'm not going to be working on stuff. So you take those 2 nights, you take 20 hours out of that. So now there's only 28 hours available for me to do stuff. And then, so then I try to do stuff, but then we get calls. I mean, trying to squeeze everything that I'm trying to do in 2 days. I don't mind doing shifts. If that's what the district ultimately has to happen, to where, you know, if we say, hey, we can't do this any other way, I'm on board. But I think, and like Chief Mason and Brett have gone through, the district can. It does have the money right now. We can hire 2.
Yeah, and that's not
So-
my concern, right? So like, I always, you know, in the economist brain of mine, right, it's always an opportunity cost. So we spend $60,000 now, we can't spend $60,000 on safety equipment later, right? So if we can make it work some other way without spending $60,000, I'm all for that, right? I'm just trying to make sure that, you know, because like I said, $60,000 we could spend on a down payment of a brand new fire truck. I mean, it's $60,000, right? I mean, there's a lot of uses for $60,000. So I just keep pushing it like, you know, I don't know, you know, and I guess it's just starting to come down to
Shouldn't
that.
safety be the first priority always?
Yeah.
So that $60,000 would best be spent on those extra firefighters to ensure the safety of the ones that are already here.
No, I'm still saying, we need to have 2 people on each shift. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to explore other ways of getting 2 people on each shift, right? I mean, what if we hire 1 person instead? Then can we make something work if we hire 1 person instead? I mean, that still saves us $30,000 in theory, right? Like,
And we have, you know, 1 shift, or 2 shifts with 2 and 1 shift with 1, so there's still somebody's by themselves.
2 shifts with 1.
I don't-
1 shift with 2.
Yeah.
Sorry.
yeah.
I don't mind, I'll go back on shift. I used to be a shift worker, you know,
Yeah.
I'll go back on shift, but then you don't have a fire chief in the office for 48 hours straight
Yeah.
while I'm on downtime because,
Yeah.
you know,
That also would, if we brought Eric on the shifts, that would take away our nighttime response, our nighttime volunteer response, because if he's on shift, he works 2 days a week, that's it.
Well, we still need Eric to do his job.
And then you run into
and,
overtime.
I'm just trying to brainstorm here. That's all I'm trying to do, right? I'm just trying to figure out a way.
Yeah.
And we don't have any volunteers that are certified enough to take shifts, right?
no, not to the shift level.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The difference between the AFG grant and that we have budgeted and the expense side is $40,000, a little over $40,000. But, you know, safety is certainly important, but
Oh,
you gotta keep
absolutely.
an eye on the future. And you gotta get, you've got, July, August, September, October, and November,
Yeah.
that you're spending down.
So this
You don't
is,
have that money coming back.
this is weighing heavily on the factor of the SAFER grant, because if the
Yeah.
SAFER grant comes through, we get funding for 3 years of firefighters. In that 3 years,
Should be able to figure something out.
well, so say we take the levy that we were gonna do in last November, and we work on it this November and it kicks in.
Yeah.
For the first 3 years, or 2 years at that point of that levy, we're taking all that money and backfilling the money we spent. So that's why I wanna make sure there's no misunderstanding here, that this is weighing heavily on the SAFER grant
Oh,
for
the SAFER, I know what you're
for this to
getting
be
at,
a
the SAFER
successful thing.
So what I'm suggesting is, you just have to be mindful things that maybe you would like to have or something, you may not be able to do that.
There's also a lot of things in the budget that I've been going through and I can trim down and get it even further down from where I took it this last year, to try to make that extra amount of money there. It means that some of the things that we have, like, one of the bigger ones is the cat dump. I mean, I'm sorry, guys, you're gonna have to enter into this.
We're fine with that, I'm totally fine with it.
But that right there is $4
Turn the
grand,
heat off.
you know, just from that right there.
I don't
And-
care.
And that's just us having to go in and manually input all the dispatch information into our infers report, because right now, that 4,000 is an annual subscription that takes that information and auto feeds it into our infers reports. And it doesn't sound like a big deal, those info reports are really a lot of time. Especially when you have to sit there and be like, okay, transfer every single en route, on scene, every single checkpoint on that call, and then returning and insecuring quarters. Just that one section alone, you're going back and forth between two computer screens to transfer all that information when it just auto feeds through the camera. So, but that's a good example of something we can cut and just put more effort into our report writing times. So yeah, they sit behind a computer for longer periods of times entering data, but at the cost of making more money available for more personnel.
Personnel.
So, you know.
Now, safety should always be number one.
Yeah.
All right, well, with that discussion, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's gonna go anywhere fast with Seal Rock. So
Well,
my thought is if we're not gonna be responding anytime soon together, I think we gotta do this. I mean, because we're just gonna punt it again down the road in a month, you know?
Yeah, and I don't like guys going out by themselves. I don't think it's good at all, you know? But, we could bite the bullet and make them safe for 7 months and hope that safer comes through, or if we don't, then we're gonna point our finger at him for getting us money.
I mean, we got, the safer's gotta come through. We do have an opportunity to pick back up where we left off last November with, adapting the levy over.
We have that levy we could fall back on.
Right, for
Personnel.
less money towards equipment, more money towards personnel.
Doesn't that come up in November, or does that come up?
That's November would be the first opportunity for us to do a vote on that if we want to. It doesn't actually kick in until July of next year. So this coming July's budget is the last year of the current serial levy on the 10-year cycle.
Right.
So next July would be the start of whatever new levy we vote in November. So that money would come in that budget year, starting that budget year. And that'd be a 5-year operational levy, not a 10-year serial levy, because it's got personnel in it.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'll make a motion to go ahead and hire the 2 people.
I think for right now, let's get stuff safe and then hopefully the safer grant comes through. What do you think, Rita?
Second the motion.
Okay, you must like it then? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Fred.
again, this is heavily weighing on the safer grant.
Well, and then we're just gonna have to, I mean, obviously, we're going to hire these people under the understanding that it could be temporary, and come October, I mean, even come July, we're gonna have or I guess sooner than that, coming up really soon is, we're gonna have to look at 2 different budgets, and you're gonna have to give us those numbers in both fashions.
I have to do 2 budgets regardless, because I have to do one with the anticipation that safer's coming in, I have to do one with the anticipation. that
Both ways.
Yep.
Because when we come into the fall time and we don't get that thing, I don't see where we have the money long term.
Yeah, it's not 2 completely independent budgets. It's basically one budget that has the safer money included in it because it's all personnel costs, so it's really only affecting one area.
Yeah.
And then another budget without those personnel costs, so, yeah. But I have to do 2 anyway.
Yeah, because then we'll have to definitely increase that bond if that's something we'll value, and we'll have to see whether our community values it, so that'll use that true determination.
Yeah, you also have negotiations coming up, and we were even talking just before the meeting, the was it the Western CPI or the
Western
Western?
CPI, yeah.
Was almost 7%. And by contract, we're only doing 3% COLAs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's half of what the index is requesting for cost of living increases for people this year.
Speaking of that,
So-
to the union, it would be really nice to have contract negotiations completed before we start budget.
Okay, I will take that under advisement.
So if we can maybe try to figure out times we can meet and start that process pretty quick, because we're gonna be starting pretty heavy into budgets. Next month is when we're gonna start collecting committees and blah, blah, blah. So if we can start getting times on the calendar, maybe in this next month, start those negotiations so we can have numbers, that'd be awesome.
We'll get to you as soon as we can.
Keep in mind, I have to have a prepared budget by May. So,
John?
Alrighty, well, I guess we're up to do to the order. You got anything there?
were there any questions?
Nothing?
I do. I just want to say thank you again, you guys. I was really concerned that I was going to come in here tonight and leave quitting my job. And I don't have to do that. So thank you.
No, I don't want anybody to be at work unsafe. I was in marine construction all my life. I get heavy equipment, I get all that stuff. It's not safe. You need to have somebody to watch your back.
I mean, even when, you know, I'm coming from just over the bridge too. I live right there in Upper Bay Shore. You know, they get a 911, pops up on the board. Usually they've got a head start on me because they've got the CAD all through the station and I don't have that at home. But I get up, change into some level of uniform because you never know, being the chief, if I'm gonna have to stay on scene and talk to people or not. And then get down on my vehicle and get going. Even for me, there's a lag time of trying to catch up to these guys. You know, the last structure fire we had was out in Five Rivers, way up in Buck Creek, Five Rivers. And they were, how long were you on scene, Cody, before I got there? Probably 5 minutes, 6 minutes? 15?
And
I
that's
thought I was doing pretty good, but 15, okay, I got it. All right. I jumped 2 engines on the way there, but okay. And, you know, that doesn't seem like a long time.
That's a long
It's a long
time.
time.
Well, especially when you can only, what they say, effectively operating CPR is 3 minutes and 2-minute increments, 2-minute increments. So you're talking pretty much
Well,
the difference between life or death, somebody having a heart attack.
I
to be honest
agree,
with you.
I agree. Yeah, no, I know both guys should be responding together. You know, just makes sense, it really does.
Yeah, I don't think it says we don't continue to try to work closer with.
No, I still want to have a good relationship with
Yeah.
Silver
It just means that the bottom line for us is we're gonna watch out for Central Coast
Right.
first and then, you know.
Well,
throw-
we're Central Coast, but we want to help our neighbors all we can too.
Sure. I mean, the rope classes I taught all week long, last week and this week, I had Steel Rock and Yahawks here.
Yeah, no, we gotta all be
So,
partners, because,
you know,
but we gotta look out for, well, we're Central Coast.
Yep.
I think we'll be all right. So.
When you lose collaboration between the districts, you pretty much have lost everything that you ever continue to work for. It doesn't matter what you agree with Silrock, whether you do or don't, with Yahawks, Newport, it doesn't matter. But once you break that collaboration and that line of communication, we all lose. It doesn't matter if they lose, we lose, Yahawks loses, Newport loses, it doesn't matter. The thing is I've seen it time and time again, once you break that spine, everybody pays for it. And the thing is we're walking on some pretty rocky water right now by approving this. But I understand your guys' plight, and I understand it and I respect it. But the thing is we may have more fallout from this than what we are, but I told you guys from the beginning when I was first elected, and I still stick to this promise to this day to you. I want Central Coast to be the best. I want you guys to have the best, and I have never deviated, no matter what has went through this community, I have never deviated from that, and I have promised you that you guys would get labor. I have said that from day one, and I've never deviated from that, and I hope at least you can acknowledge that, that the fact is, I've never changed, and I'm not gonna change, and so wherever things fall out, let them fall out where they may be, because I'm not gonna change who I am. And I have had your guys' back from day one, whether you realize it or not, but I have never deviated from what you guys have ever wanted, needed, or otherwise. Have I not?
You guys definitely showed that you have our back tonight. We appreciate it.
Okay, but the thing is always have had it. Ever.
Well, here's something else to consider too. I really hope there's no negative feedback from this, from Steel Rock or anything like that.
If there is, so what?
Because-
The thing is, we made the decision.
You're right, I understand that, but also, if we do end up improving on this IGA, now there's gonna be 2 more firefighters on the table to help out their district as well.
Help their, yeah,
So-
absolutely, we
so
can
if
help
we
them
can
too. It's
continue-
gotta work all together.
If we can continue to spin this in a positive light, like, hey,
That's
Steel
what
Rock,
we have to
we
do.
also got another 2 firefighters, so we can really build a nice response in the hall.
Let's take care of the whole central
But
coast
Shai,
here.
didn't I tell you in probably July, my first meeting, I said, I want nothing but the best for you guys.
You did.
I want you to be leaders, I want you to show the rest of the county that they got no competition because you guys are the best. And I believe that then, and I believe it now, and I don't care what the political climate is, I still believe in it. Because I've never been a quitter. I have been beat up in my life and shot down, and I always have come on surface to the top and brought people with me. So you guys wanna do that? Look where we're at tonight. You can cuss me all you want to, I'm okay with that, I've got thick skin, I'll take it. But the thing is, you can never say that I'm not for you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, well then, I guess on that, we're gonna adjourn the meeting.
When did you pull the other?
Pick me.
I gave them all, yeah, I gave them all.
No.